My name's Leroy Chapman, and this is Public Secrets. Hello? You're doing it wrong. Today we're going to hop in my van, and we're going to explore the hidden and neglected histories of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Test. Joe Brainard is an American artist that was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I believe in 1942. So he would have been 70 years old next year. He was kind of a geeky kid, and he didn't have a lot of friends in high school. He started his art career by designing dresses for his mother when he was a young teenager. And he got really good at it, so by junior high school, there were women around town that were collecting his work. Here's Joe Brainard's house, 159. And this house was the art editorial address for the White Dove Review. I drive real slow, and then I'll honk at people and wave. It's just kind of a way to disrupt the normal goings on. Honk honk. Joe went to art school in Ohio. He quit college within 2 months and moved to New York and started working there as an illustrator and doing set design. This is early in Warhol's career too, and Warhol was running in the same circles, and they were friends, and they admired each other's work and influenced each other a lot. Like Lichtenstein and Warhol, you know, they would use the comic book figures. You know, Brainard was doing some of that work too. So that passenger side is pretty gnarly. Like if you look at it, it's pretty creepy looking. Mayo guys. They're getting the bad side of the van, and they're still waiting. Brainard was a speed freak. He did lots of speed up and through the 70s, but he produced an enormous amount of work. He's outside of the box for sure, because you couldn't pin him down, and that's one of the things that they say about Brainard is like he would have a show. He did one show where he created like 1,200 of these little miniature pieces. They were like these super tiny, just like intricate little, like I think they were like shadow boxes, and there was over 1,200 of them in this exhibit, and people loved him. You know, as soon as like people he would have a show and they loved his work, he would start doing paintings or illustration. You know, he didn't want to be defined as like the guy who did miniatures or the guy who did, you know, this or that. You know, he didn't want to be put in a box like that, so he would always switch it up, and there'll be like this underground comic stuff that he was doing in 63 and 64, which predates Robert Crumb. Brainard was doing it, you know, right in time, if not right before all those guys. Even when he did poetry, his poem I Remembered is like, it's a pretty big piece in the American canon of poetry, because all he's doing is saying I remember, and he's talking about Tulsa mainly. You know, I remember the grocery store on 6th Street, or I remember my booger wall, you know, or it's like a small book. It's like, you know, 40 pages of him just recounting these memories, you know. Joe Brainard's history is fascinating here, you know, and what he did, and his artwork's great, but nobody's ever had a show here of his stuff. He could take really any format or any media and make something out of it, you know, and not only just make something out of it, but make something out of it that was kind of breaking with tradition or had a new sense to it, you know. Brainard's amazing. Just spreading the good vibe, you know.